Welcome back, students. This is a very short video which has the short note on Ansa cervicalis. So write a short note on Ansa cervicalis or Ansa hypoglossae. So both the names are there. Ansa cervicalis is also known as Ansa hypoglossae. Before I go to this description of this Ansa cervicalis, let us first see this diagram. Okay, in this diagram, in this yellow color, what I have drawn is the hypoglossal nerve, which is the 12th cranial nerve, and it is motor, and it goes to supply the skeletal muscles of the tongue. Okay, so this is the motor nerve for the tongue musculature, and on this side in a black pencil which I have drawn is the ventral rami of C1, C2 and C3. Ramus of C1, ramus of C2 and ramus of C3. They are the ventral rami that is coming out from the spinal cord, okay, as a root, then trunk, and then ventral and dorsal ramus are formed. Now the ventral rami of C1, C2 and C3, they send a branch, okay. The C1 ventral ramus branch, it runs and then get fused with that of the hypoglossal nerve. I have not shown the fusion here, but this comes and fuses with that of the. Fuses means the fibers, they don't intermix. They remain in the same epineurial sheath or connective tissue sheath. Otherwise, there is no mixture of the fibers. So C1 are the cervical one vertebral, spinal cord fibers of ventral rami. They run along with the hypoglossal nerve in a common sheath, or it is fused with that of the hypoglossal nerve without mixing of the fibers from cranial nerve, and C1 is the spinal nerve. It is the spinal nerve. Then this gives a branch along with the hypoglossal nerve, okay, which goes to supply the glenoid and thyroid muscle. Glenoid and the thyroid muscle, right? But then this C1 gives a root here, a branch here, which is called as the superior root, okay, of the Ansa cervicalis, superior root. And this superior root consists of the fiber C1, which is taking origin, it appears as if it is taking origin from the hypoglossal nerve, but it doesn't contain the fiber of hypoglossal, it contains the fibers of only the C1. So this root is called a superior root, okay, and it descends or descendants hypoglossae. The other name of superior root is kya hai? Descendants hypoglossae. Descendants hypoglossae, okay, or superior root containing all the fibers from C1. So this is the superior root. But then there are the rami from C2 and C3, ventral rami, they fuse and then they form a root which also descend downward. Okay, this is called as inferior root because the C1 branch here from hypoglossal was called as the superior root. So this is at a lower level, that's why it is called as inferior root. But here it is formed by the fusion of C2 and C3 rami, and they contain the fibers from C2 and C3, okay, and these fibers, they are motor fibers, C1, C2 and C3. Either it is in superior root or it is in inferior root. Inferior root by the union of C2 and C3, and superior root is independent C1. And then it gives many branches and forms a loop. It forms a loop. C1, C2, C3 fibers, they just mix and forms a loop. And from the loops, many branches are given. Okay, many branches. So this is how this Ansa cervicalis is formed in association with the hypoglossal nerve, though it has nothing to do with the hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal is a cranial nerve. C1, C2, C3, they are the ventral rami of a spinal nerve. Spinal. Just only the, thing is that the C1 fibers, they run for some distance along with that of the hypoglossal nerve. So it appears as if this branch is going to genioid and thyroid and forming the superior root of the Ansa cervicalis. It appears as if they are branches from hypoglossal, but in real sense they are not. Okay, they are not. That's things should be clear in your mind, and that is the reason why I have drawn it in two different colors. Okay, now superior root, as I said, is formed by the is coming out from the hypoglossal nerve. Okay, so this takes origin as if it is a branch from the hypoglossal nerve, but contains fiber of C1. So inferior root, it is formed by the union of the fibers of our ventral rami of C2 and C3. Now, and then it forms a loop, and this loops lies on the carotid sheath. It lies on the carotid sheath. The superior root runs on to the, on the surface of the carotid sheath, but at the level of the common carotid artery. That means just deep to this part where the superior root is there, deep inside the carotid sheath lies the common carotid artery. So one can say that this superior root lies superficial to the common carotid artery, which is within the carotid sheath. Okay, now after formation of the loop, as I said, this loop is formed on this carotid sheath and many branches are given up. Okay, many. And this inferior root lies usually onto the site of the internal jugular vein within the carotid sheath, of course. Okay, now see the branches. It supplies motor fibers. Okay, motor fibers to the various ribbon muscle. As I said that from the superior root, the branch will go to genioid and thyroid, but they are the C1 roots, okay, fibers from C1, but they are not considered as the branches of the Ansa cervicalis or from roots. Only the branches which are taking origin from the roots, loop, they are considered as their branches. Otherwise, though it is containing the fiber C1 in the muscle, which now going to the muscle genioid and thyroid, they are not considered as the branch from the Ansa cervicalis. That's why I have given it in the rectangle here, thyroid and the genioid. So they are not the branch from the Ansa cervicalis. Okay, Ansa cervicalis, the branch from C1 which is coming, is the superior belly of omohyoid. Is going to the C1 branch. So the superior belly of the omohyoid is supplied by the C1. Then from that of the inferior root, many branches are given by inferior root. It will go to the sternohyoid, okay, then it will go to the sternothyroid, okay, both taking origin from sternum, but on the posterior aspect of the manubrum sterni and going upward to the one to the hyoid bone, another to the thyroid cartilage. So sternohyoid and sternothyroid, and third is going to the inferior belly of the omohyoid, okay, omohyoid. So all these muscles which are supplied by the Ansa cervicalis are loop. They are for the ribbon muscle, which are classified as the infrahyoid muscles, below the hyoid bone, while this genioid is above the hyoid bone. So, but it is not supplied by the loop. Okay, of course, the thyroid also comes in the group which extend between the oblique line of thyroid cartilage to the hyoid bone, infrahyoid, but then it is directly not supplied by that of the loop, okay, by the loop. So this completes a short note on the Ansa cervicalis. Thank you very much for watching this video on Ansa cervicalis.